Hello and welcome to the Nothing Nothing and on Record Hall number 23. We visit the Mall of Kintyre and bid farewell to Denny Laine. Get a Runaround by Sue. Become like a Rolling Stone. A reissued Beatles single. Not bingo. What? The Starman arrives. And we head to a green river. This and more coming up next on Record Hall 23. This is filmed on December 21st, but it will be live today on New Year's Eve. So Happy New Year and be safe this evening. And let's get to the box, shall we? Yeah, it's a little dark, so I'm just going to be quick here. We're going to go ahead and open it. I actually got the thing out this time. Okay. Okay. We'll start right off with the first single. This is my first Laurie record. And, of course, if you're going to get Runaround by Sue, this is the number one from 1961. Runaround Sue, backed with I Wonder Why by Dion and the Belmonts. Well, this is a 78 reissue, but a number one is a number one. And then we get to the Beatles reissued single on Starline, which was a capital, I guess, pre-free issue series of I Feel Fine, which was a number one, backed with She's a Woman. And then we move into 1970, and although the Christmas season is already past us, I Wish You Feliz Navidad from Jose Feliciano, backed with the Little Drummer Boy, also by Feliciano, on the RCA Gold series, although you would not be able to tell that. I don't know if you look right there. Standard or this paper sleeve, which is original. And then we head down memory lane back to 1972 for another number one with Johnny Nash's I Can See Clearly Now the Rain Is Gone, backed with Stir It Up. And then we move into 1973 or 2 with Sammy Davis Jr. and the Candyman, which was a number one, backed with the People Tree, and this Golden Circle, I believe, is a reissue label. Now, you may notice it's in a correct RSO sleeve, but what I'm actually going to do here is, if you remember a while back, I had the single of If I Can't Have You by Yvonne Yetman. I'm going to replace that, put this back into that one. This is what it originally came in. And then use that white sleeve and put it where this one is now. Next up, we have Neil Sedaka entering the collection with Laughter in the Rain, another number one, backed with Endlessly. You may notice there's a Peaches logo. Yes, like the albums, Peaches did release or did sell placement sleeves like this. And so this is an example of where it was from Peaches. And then next up, we get into instrumental territory with Gonna Fly Now from the theme from Rocky by Bill Conti, backed with Reflections, also from the same film by Bill Conti. Now, you may also notice this is a Warner Reprise sleeve. You may remember in my last episode, which came out on Christmas, that I had Princess I Want to Be Your Lover. I'm going to replace that sleeve with this one, because this one is original to that era. And I'll put this in a white sleeve. And then, of course, if we're gonna visit the Mall of Kintyre and say farewell to Denny Laine, we have to have the song Mall of Kintyre. So here we are, back with Girls' School. Now this is sealed. Interestingly, somehow it's still sealed, and apparently this was something that happened in the past. But of course, I should quickly mention about Denny Laine. Denny Laine died earlier in the year, or a few weeks ago now. And of course, we have to bid farewell to the co-songwriter and to one of the biggest songs in Britain. And then next up, we go from the Mall of Kintyre, and we're going to Funkytown by Lips Inc., backed with All Night Dancing, which was of course a number one and the last number one of the disco era music. And then we move into the same year with the theme from Caddyshack, Kenny Loggins, and I'm Alright, backed with Kenny Loggins' Lead the Way. Then last episode, I had the Bonnie Tyler single. And now we have the number one, the actual number one from Footloose, Deniece Williams. Let's hear it for the boy. Backed with, what is it? Oh, I forget what it's backed with. Since I have to show you the single anyway. Oh, it's an instrumental version, right? Yeah. Barcodes, we're in the age of them now. You can scan these on Discogs, even on labels like this, and they will pull up versions. There's two of this one, but this one is a regular press. And then we move into number ones. Or, sorry, not number ones, excuse me. Into 12 inches. Let me turn this light a little bit. That'll help. And we're on to Bob Dylan's greatest hits. So, of course, the Like a Rolling Stone is because of his song, Like a Rolling Stone. Now, this is a reissue of this. The original came out in, I want to guess, 67, 68. I would have to guess, based on the track list. My knowledge of Bob Dylan ain't great, but I am aware of him enough to know the era of some things. He was on Columbia at this time. This was the record. That was the record label that famously found him. Anyway, it's the regular Columbia from the 70s and 80s. You probably recognize it hundreds of times from my collection by now. And then next up, you might be thinking, wait, don't you have this already? And yes, that's true, but this is Simon & Garfunkel's Bridge Over Troubled Water. If you were thinking, don't you have this? This is true. However, mine was in the incorrect sleeve, because the original was in the rosemary, parsley, sage, and thyme cover. But now I have one that's in the correct version. Of course, as maybe you may knew, Bridge Over Troubled Water was a number one for several weeks in 1970. But before we get to that, we have a printed inner. So let's see if we have any of these. I can already tell you I have one of these. That's Johnny Cash's volume number 1, which we had in the last episode, I believe. Or if not, 2 episodes ago now. Okay, let's check the other side. Oh, here's the information. This is tells you how to here's what your records can do. The best for less. They allow selectivity of songs and track, and that is in theory. That's true. You could jump track to track if you wanted to. If you wanted to skip something, they're the top quality and sound. That's true. They're attractive, informative, and easily to store. That's partially true. I would argue that some don't look very good, but okay. Fan record forming notes available. That's true for the time. Make a great gift. Yeah, that's true. I've seen that. As you can guess from that, this is over on Columbia. You may recognize this. I think this is the same one that's on my Johnny Cash Greatest Hits Volume 1. If you may remember from that episode, I told my favorite song off of this one is The Boxer mainly, but I'm also a fan of El Condor Pasa and the title track. And then we move into 1974 with Bad Company's first album. You may be thinking, this one's long overdue. That is true. It is long overdue. 1974 Swan Song. So you may remember, I think it's back, it's my very first, no, it's my second episode, or third episode I got, second episode that I got, their second album, Straight Shooter, which had the 2 hits on it, but this was their debut. And yes, this is Gatefold. Of course, they were on the Swan Song, which was the label of Led Zeppelin. And interestingly, we have a shout out here because someone's name is on it. Well, it's not exactly a name, it's Dads. So to all the dads out there who like Bad Company, this one's for you, and hope you're doing well. And then we move on to... Oh, wait, this might be out of order. Originally, this came out in 1976, but this is Creedence Clearwater Revivals featuring John Fogerty, Chronicles. This one's still reissued to this day, but this is an earlier reissue copy. And I would say for anybody who's trying to get into CCR, I would just get this. It has all the singles and hits on one little compilation here, although it's 2 discs. I can't say it's little. $1976, based on that copyright date. So this is Gatefold, mainly because it's 2 discs. Usually when you do that, you have to Gatefold. Got your track list and a picture of them. You got a little write-up. Got the other half of the picture, and then like a timeline. Now, of course, they run Fantasy, and I will tell you what era this Fantasy is from, just by the label. This reissue is from the early to mid-1980s, based on this blue Fantasy label. And there's side 4. This is also this one. This one was designed for record changers. What about the second one? Okay, don't want to pull that out. I'm not ready for that yet. And here's side 2 and side 3. Do the nature of record changers. And then, of course, the Starman arrives. There's only one famous Starman, and that's David Bowie, with one of his first compilations, Changes One Bowie. And of course, you got most of your classics on here. There's Space Odyssey, Changes, Ziggy Stardust, Rebel Rebel, Young Americans, Fame. Quite a few number 1s here in this one. And all these are pretty much the standards for Bowie. Of course, he was on RCA at this time, so you got this is a reissue, late 70s reissue of this, but this is the RCA logo. Well, you just saw it earlier with Jose Feliciano, but now you've seen on the 12-inch. And then we move into 1977 or 78 with Dr. Hook's Pleasure and Pain, with the original hype sticker here, showing hyping one of the hits, Sharing the Night Together. Now we'll discuss the variation about this in a minute, but we'll get to it. When we get to it. But I'll just note it here. See, there's 5 track titles there. Sharing the Night to there's 5. And that's also 5, and you add those up. But when we get to the inside, which has a printed inner sleeve, which has just the lyrics, basically. Yeah, 1978, that's the newest copyright date. So you got the credits. Dr. Hook was on Capitol at this time, and you're not going to be able to read that. Let's put this in the light over here. So interestingly, there is a version of this where there is 11 tracks, and then there's a version where there's 10. I have the 10-track version. And then we move into 1980 with Pat Benatar's Precious Time. I can almost read that. Barcode, I mean, we just mentioned it with singles, but I'll do it again. You can scan this with the mobile Discogs app, and you can help you find versions. We've got a print and enter here. We have the band first. Neil Girardo, of course, went in with her when she got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and here's the lyrics. And of course, she was on Chrysalis, so we get the classic Chrysalis with the blue label. So was this 1980? I just want to make sure. Yes, this was 1980. Wait, hold on, that's 81 copyright. Sorry, 81. Supposed to be from 1981, not 1980. And then lastly, from 1989, and tying my my newest record from the original vinyl era before modern reissues is One by the Bee Gees. This was their follow-up after ESP, which was in the last episode, and this was actually their last time I was there. There's that down there. Hard to read it, but it says manufactured by Columbia House. So this is a Columbia House copy. And on the inside, each side has the printed lyrics. Sorry. So that's side 1. Here's side 2. This is dedicated to their brother Andy, who had died in 1988, and the one song, Wish You Were Here, is basically a tribute to Andy Gibb. And of course, they were in Warner Brothers. This looks pretty much like my ESP from last time. Now, from reading the Gibb song page, supposedly, You Win Again was supposed to be on here, but I don't see it. So, I don't know if that was unusual or if this is some other variation of it, but anyway, and that is it. And I thank you for watching, and I hope you have a happy new year and stay safe this evening.